Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Morgan, the Riker chick, and in today's video we are going to be discussing how I recently rented a Can-Am Spyder RT and how that compares to riding a Can-Am Ryker. So let's get into it. Alright you guys, so if you did not catch my most recent video, I shared the moto vlog where my husband and I were on a road trip recently. We stopped in a town in Tennessee called Townsend, and we ended up renting motorcycles and riding all over the Smoky Mountains. This included the Foothills Parkway and the Tail of the Dragon, and we had a really incredible time. So for us, it was our first time renting Spyders. Our only experience with Spyders previously had been riding my mom. So both her older Spyder, she if you haven't seen some of my previous videos, she originally had a 2009 Spyder and she recently traded that for a 2021 Spyder RT Limited, and we'd ridden those around a little bit, but this was certainly the longest time we'd ever spent on Spyders. And in that video I had a lot of good comments, a lot of people reaching out and saying, hey, what did you think? How does it compare to riding the Ryker? What was your experience on it? And are you ready to trade in? So yeah, let's get into that. Let's talk about that. But before we do, I just want to ask you to please hit the like button, subscribe, make sure the notification bell is on so you never miss a future upload. All right, let's get into it. So for this particular trip, I ended up renting a Can-Am Spyder RT. My husband rented an F3, but for this comparison purposes, I'll be talking about my experience with the RT. Now, currently, I have a 2020 Can-Am Ryker. I have the Rally Edition. So this is what I'll be comparing, just my experience on my Ryker Rally versus renting this Spyder RT. So with this particular company, we rented from Wolf Creek Motorsports in Townsend, Tennessee. They have a location in Tennessee. They have one in North Carolina as well, just kind of strategically located very close to all these great riding areas. Now this rental company has a bunch of different bikes you can choose, a bunch of different makes and models, but for the purposes of what we were looking for that day, we said, hey, let's rent Spyders and just go enjoy the day, enjoy these beautiful mountains up in the Smoky Mountains. Now there were not any Rykers available for rent, although I did ask the company about it and he said, yeah, we've heard about them. That could be something they do in the future. It just have to be, just down the road. Now, I was personally interested in renting the RT because that is that's the top of the line Spyder. That is the big, kind of luxurious, has all the bells and whistles, very comfortable, has all the luggage, and I really wanted to kind of put it to the test. And I was very impressed with all of the features, even from my first introduction to the bike, walking around it. It had lots of storage up in the front, in the top case, the luggage on either side, just tons of storage, even a little compartment just kind of right there in front of me. I could put my phone and just anything I needed to get to very quickly. It also had tons of features as far as technology, the windshield that came up and down, I could adjust to my height. It had a radio, it had a seat warmer, not that I needed it in August, but it's nice to know that it's there. It also had a very, very comfortable seat and room for a passenger that could fit very, very comfortably for the ride. Now, with this particular rental company, you can rent for a day, you can rent for a week, or you can do what we did and rent for a 5-hour block of time. We spent the day riding through the Foothills Parkway, through Tail of the Dragon. We actually ended up doing Tail of the Dragon twice because we had to turn around and go back. Anyway, we had to go back the way we came. Long story, we got a little bit lost. We had to go kind of back the way that we came. So we ended up doing Tail of the Dragon twice, once going down, once going back up. Now, I have ridden Tail of the Dragon on my Ryker. I did this last October, and so I feel like that's a really good road to put yourself to the test. It's 318 curves in an 11-mile stretch. Riding on those mountain roads can be a little bit intimidating, especially for somebody like me who's from Florida, who has very flat roads, not a lot of curves, but it is very fun riding. So one of the questions I got asked was, was it hard to adapt to using the paddle shifter? So the Spyder is semi-automatic. You do not have to shift gears in the sense that you're having to shift up and down, but you do have to do the paddle shifter on the left-hand side to kind of shift your way up through the gears, and then it automatically shifts down when you brake. It did take a little bit of getting used to, but I feel like I got the hang of it pretty quickly. And I feel like I kept saying in the previous video, it was a very intuitive experience because you really do get a sense of when to shift. So if you're going from a Ryker to a Spyder, where on the Ryker it is just automatic, you are just using the throttle, you're not having to shift. If you're going from the Ryker to the Spyder, I feel like it was a very easy transition. So if that is something that you're concerned about, I wouldn't. I found it very easy to use. There's a lot of different ways you can sense when to shift. So I would not scratch a Spyder off my list just for that reason alone. It is a little something extra that you have to do that you're not normally used to with the Ryker. But I did find it, like I said, very intuitive to use. And I got the hang of it, I think, pretty quickly. And by the end, we were smooth sailing, no problem. Now let's talk comfort. So of course, after the end of a long day, now we rented for a 5-hour time period. We went over on our time. We went about 6 hours total from the time we got on the bikes to the time we got off and dropped them off and got them all situated. I was not uncomfortable at all. Now with that model of the RTs, my feet were kind of like right underneath me. I feel like I was kind of like sitting kind of right under my feet were like right under my knees, if that makes sense. But my particular Spyder had foot pegs, like highway pegs, so I was able to stretch my legs out. So that was very comfortable. Like I said before, the seat was very comfortable. I did not feel like I had a lot of pain in my backside, anything like that by the end of, and we were on those bikes for the whole 6 hours, except for just a little bit of like stopping to go look at a quick overlook, but we were never really off the bikes more than about 5-10 minutes at a time. So we were on those bikes for a good long while. And I felt that we were very comfortable and I did not have any kind of residual aches or pains from that length of a ride. Now, compared with my Ryker, when I did the ride on Tail of the Dragon last year, I had not upgraded my seat to the Corbin seat yet. I just had the stock Ryker seat. And I was definitely sore by the end of the day. So that is certainly something to keep in mind. I have since upgraded to the Corbin seat. But I feel like even with that, you're still going to be sore at the end of the day. But I feel like with the upgraded seat on my Ryker, I'm definitely setting myself for a more comfortable experience. One of the big differences I noticed as far as positioning with the Spyder versus my Ryker, I kept saying to my husband, I said, I feel like I'm sitting on top of this bike. And I've heard other people say that before when comparing Rykers and Spyders. And that's the Spyder does sit a lot higher than the Ryker. And I personally like where the Ryker sits. It sits a little bit lower. I feel like I'm more part of the bike, whereas with the Spyder, I feel like I'm sitting on top of it. I don't think it was necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think it just comes down to personal preference. And I think for me, I missed sort of the feeling of being part of the bike that I feel with the Ryker. And I think that's just how it's designed. It's a little bit of that sportier nature. And I know some people don't like that. I think that's just something to keep in mind and pay attention to positioning wise for the Rykers versus Spyders. Steering. I think steering was a big one. So I feel like because of the size and the weight of the Spyders, one of the things I noticed, and it was particularly on the second run of Tail of the Dragon, like I said, we kind of put ourselves in a position where we had to turn back and go back up the Tail of the Dragon. And it's, and we weren't going very fast. We're not one of these people who's trying to like break speed records. We're going and just, we're playing it safe. We're not going slow, but we're not breaking records here. But it's a lot of turns in a very tight area. That's what it is. I felt like by the end, I think I even said out loud to my husband, I said, "Are we done yet?" Because I felt like I was just kind of like forcing Spyder to make those turns. And I feel like it's a very heavy bike to make those kinds of turns like that. I felt like it was very, very noticeable. Whereas with my Ryker, when I did this ride last year, it handled it no problem. It's a much smaller, kind of lighter bike, a little bit lower to the ground. So it just kind of like, you know, you're still having to steer it, but I don't know, it was just a different experience. Again, not a bad experience. It was just kind of like, I felt like I noticed it a little bit more on the Spyder. I will give major props to the Spyder for all the luggage and the storage space. I was able to bring my cameras, any gear that I had, with plenty of room to spare. So there is no doubt in my mind you could very easily tour and take a very long trip on the Spyder and have plenty of space for everything you need and more. So that is one of the major draws of the Spyder for me personally. Now, I added the 3-piece luggage set to my Ryker from Sling Mods, and it has space, it adds space, but it's not tons and tons of space like the Spyder offers. But that's just part of, you know, your choice between the two. So a couple of you have asked, am I ready to trade my Ryker in for a Spyder? And the answer for me personally is no, not at this time. I really do love my Ryker. I have a lot of time and love and energy and blood, sweat, and tears invested into my Ryker. I feel like I've done a lot of modifications to mine just to make it my own, and it's my Ryker. I really love it, and I feel like I've done a lot to customize it to make it what I want it to be. I could absolutely see myself getting a Spyder someday down the road, but I'm not quite ready yet to hand in my key and trade it in just yet. That being said, I had a really wonderful time renting that Spyder and zipping all over those mountains. Highly recommend it to anybody if you're looking to test one out. There's motorcycle rental companies all over the place. Just check out one near you, rent one for a day, half a day, and just go explore and just go see the world around you. And I think in the times that we're living in right now, I think it is more important than ever to embrace the world of wind therapy and just get out there and see the world around you. And it was such a good thing for my mental health and my peace of mind. So anyway, I hope that answered you guys' questions. If you have any other questions about my actual driving experience with the Ryker versus the Spyder, just leave those in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer those. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please like this video, make sure you're subscribed, share it with your friends, and until next time, you guys ride safe, be kind, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.